Hare Krishna. From Mayapur. Ajay. Welcome, Prabhuji. Please come. You take a seat there or sit here wherever you like.
I'll also want to talk to the kids for a few minutes. I'll just come back.
Yeah, they're upstairs. So just one thing you can do is just increase the volume a little bit for the speaker.
Speaker one.
No, not the mic one, it's a master you can. Yes, yes. Just a little bit. Okay. So everyone kindly repeat after me. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Gana.
Jaya Jaya Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Gana.
Shakti Deha Koreyena Chaitanya Varnana.
Shakti Deha Koreyena Chaitanya Varnana.
Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Gana.
Jaya Jaya Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Gana.
Shakti Deha Koreyena Chaitanya Varnana.
Shakti Deha Koreyena Chaitanya Varnana.
So just one recap of some key points that we have been discussing. So this chapter is entitled The Glories of Lord Nityananda Balaram. And in this chapter what we have done is, we have been discussing the 5 verses that glorify Lord Nityananda, and they are part of the Mangala Charan of the first chapter. Okay. So there are 14 verses of the Mangala Charan. First 6 for Lord Chaitanya, the next 5 for Lord Nityananda. And we have finished our discussion of those 5 verses. So in the last session, we covered 2 of them. So one that described the glories of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and the other that described the glories of Shirodakshai Vishnu and Shesha, Ananta Shesh. So as we heard in the beginning of the chapter, that Lord Balaram is Krishna's second form, his second body. In the beginning, Krishnadas Kaviraj gives a beautiful verse. He says that Sarva Avatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavana.
Sarva Avatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavana.
Tanhara Dvitiya Deha Shri Balarama. So his second Deha is Shri Balaram. And then he went on to explain that how the same Lord Krishna, Hare Krishna, how the same Lord Krishna, he descends in the form of Lord Chaitanya. And the same Balaram, he descends in the form of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. And then he described, those 5 verses. And in those 5 verses, we learned that how Lord Balaram serves in so many different capacities. In 4 forms, he assists in the process of creation and maintenance. So in the form of Sankarshan, what does he do? He maintains the spiritual, in the form of the Chaturvyuha, he maintains the spiritual realm. Right? He enables that atmosphere for Krishna's pastimes. So in Krishna Lok and also in Vaikuntha. And then in his other three forms of the Purusha avatars, he is so much involved in the creation of this world. Multiple universes come out, Mahavishnu, and then Mahavishnu expands into Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and he enters each individual universe. And then Garbhodakshai Vishnu, he expands further into the heart of every living entity as the Paramatma, Shirodakshai Vishnu. And who is holding Garbhodakshai Vishnu as he's lying on this Garbhodaka ocean? Anantashesh. And he's serving in many different capacities, like the bed of Krishna, like the umbrella. So many other things he is, in so many different capacities he's serving. And as he has described how Lord Balaram serves in all these different capacities, what is his mood? Is he thinking he's some great personality? He's identifying himself as the servant of the Lord, servant of Lord Krishna. And that's why he's a supreme personality of servitor Godhead, Lord Balaram. So Krishna is the supreme personality of enjoyer Godhead. That's why you see Krishna, he's always smiling. He's like, you see him here. He has a beautiful flute. He's not worried about anything. So everything is beautifully, immaculately, and effortlessly taken care of by these expansions, who are actually not different from the Lord. And now, after sharing the glories of Lord Nityananda, he is going to describe that how he personally received the mercy of Lord Nityananda. So this is going to be a beautiful section. In this section, there'll be less philosophy and more like a personal anecdote that Kaviraj Goswami is sharing. And through the anecdote, he shares many important lessons, which we will all try and hear and discuss together. Okay. So before I start, I'll just say the Mangalacharan prayers and then we'll begin. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Shatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'd also like to welcome Shanky Prabhu. You can introduce them.
He's my brother.
Okay.
This is my sister.
Okay.
And my brother is in the Indian Army as a colonel.
Okay, great. Welcome.
Posted in Pune.
And his name?
Colonel Varun Kumar.
Okay, Hare Krishna, welcome. And your sister's name?
Ritika Varun.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
This person as a dietitian.
Okay, very nice. Welcome. Yeah, thank you. So we will begin with verse 157. So some verses we will chant together, and some I will just relate or narrate the story to you. Okay, we won't chant all the verses. So the first one we will chant 157. Nityananda Mahima Sindhu Ananta Apara Ekakana Sparshi Matra Shai Kripa Tanhara. So Kaviraj Goswami is saying that the ocean of Lord Nityananda's glories is infinite and unfathomable. So it's endless and it's inconceivable. And only by His mercy can I even touch a drop of it. So what's His mood here? What's He expressing in this line that only by His mercy can I touch even a drop of it?
That means whatever he has glorified, it's all because of his mercy.
Only by His mercy can I touch even a drop of it. Yes, so he is expressing his inability to glorify Lord Nityananda. And he's saying, how is it possible that I can glorify? And whatever I am able to do is by the mercy of the Lord Himself. That by His grace, by His empowerment, I'm able to say whatever I'm able to say. And whatever I'm saying is but just a little drop of His glories. And now he's saying, please listen to another glory of His mercy. He made a fallen living entity climb to the highest limit. So he's going to narrate a personal story. And he's going to share how Lord Nityananda bestowed His mercy upon him and helped him climb to the highest limit, from being a fallen living entity to the highest limit. Adham jivare chadailo urdhva sima. And we further see His humility in the next verse. He says that, it is not proper to disclose it. Like usually, we really like to, speak about how we got the mercy. We met our Guru Maharaj and Guru Maharaj said this and that. And, I had a dream, Krishna came. And we don't think much. We enjoy in sharing. We don't have any reservations. But Kaviraj Goswami, he's very hesitant in sharing. And why is he hesitant? He doesn't want to come out as someone special. That because he received the mercy, so then he looks like someone real special. So he said that to disclose it is not proper. Because why? Just like the confidential knowledge of the Vedic literature, it's not so openly discussed. So what would be a very confidential knowledge of the Vedic literature? Okay, that is. And then what else? You go a step further. Bhakti Yoga. And within Bhakti Yoga? Krishna's pastimes with His close associates, especially the gopis. It's very, very confidential. It's easy to say Radhe Radhe. But who Radharani is? What is her position? What is the tattva of their relationship? Prabhupada describes that only one who's liberated from material desires can understand this loving exchange between Radha and Krishna. So we can know something theoretically about it, but unless we are liberated from material desires and material hankerings and material tendencies, there is no way we can understand this confidential exchange of selfless love between Radha and Krishna. It's not possible. And we shouldn't be presumptuous about that. And that's why in Prabhupada's books and in his lectures, he doesn't openly discuss that. Because who's he speaking to? And most of the times, who is the speaker speaking to? Is he speaking to liberated souls? So, if you're in if you're in like kindergarten, and the teacher starts speaking about calculus and all these things, complicated mathematics and scientific formulas, what help will it do? Only that people will get more confused, have wrong conception of maths and science. That's what will happen. And we see that most of the times, this is what happens when people prematurely discuss the confidential pastimes of the Lord in public and so he says, "Yet I shall speak of it to make his mercy known to all." So his main intention in sharing this personal pastime is what? To glorify. He says, "Kripa prakashite." Prakashite means to broadcast. Whose kripa? Lord Nityananda's kripa. The greatness of his kripa, this is what he wants to highlight in sharing this story. And we'll see later on that what his mood is once he finishes sharing the story. So he says, "O Lord Nityananda, I write of your mercy out of great exultation." He says, "Ullas upari lekhun tomara prasada, Nityananda Prabhu mora shama aparadha." So he's asking for forgiveness of his offense for sharing this personal pastime. So now he begins the narration of what happens. So there was a very, very confidential, loving servant of Lord Nityananda, and his name was Meena Ketan. Meena Ketan Ramdas. And in the house of Kaviraj Goswami, he was holding Sankirtan in his house, and he invited him to come to his house. And when Meena Ketan Ramdas arrived at his house, he was absorbed in ecstatic love. He was such a pure soul. He was completely absorbed in the love of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. And he sat in the courtyard, and then all the devotees who were there in his house, Kaviraj Goswami's house, they came and offered their pranams to him. And as they were offering their pranams, so he would sometimes climb on their shoulder, and sometimes he struck others with his flute, and sometimes he would mildly slap them. So I have this experience that, till about last year, whenever I would offer pranam, Nimai would climb on my shoulder. So sometimes he would lie flat, like if I was doing Dhanavad pranam, and he would also, or if I was, doing half of the pranam, then he would climb on my shoulder like a little monkey. So I can completely relate like what he was doing with everyone. So as they were doing pranam, he would climb on their shoulder. And whenever someone would look at his eyes were full of tears constantly flowing. Why? Yes, because of the love he was feeling for the Lord. And sometimes there were eruptions of ecstasy. His body would tremble, and some of the parts of his body would erupt, and sometimes one of his limbs would be stunted. So he was experiencing these ecstatic symptoms of the love of Godhead. So he was a very, very advanced and dear servant of Lord Nityananda. And let us recite 167. Nityananda boli jabe kore na hunkar,
Nityananda boli jabe kore na hunkar,
taha dekhi lokera hoy maha chamatkar.
taha dekhi loker hoy maha chamatkar.
So whenever he shouted aloud the name, everyone, Nityananda, the people around him would be filled with great wonder and astonishment. They would experience Maha Chamatkar. So we can only imagine with how much love and ecstasy he was pronouncing his names. And as he was doing it, there was one devotee. His name was Gunarnav Mishra. And he was engaged in serving the deity. And only he did not offer his obeisances. So when Meenaketan Ramdas was seated in the yard, and he saw that he did not offer him obeisances, he became a little angry at Gunarnav Mishra. Now this may seem little perplexing that here's a devotee in ecstatic love, so advanced, so pure, and someone didn't offer him obeisances and he gets angry. So is he puffed up or what? There seems to be something contradictory happening. So what is really happening? And why is he upset? This will be revealed as we go through the story. So he says that here I find the second Romaharshan Sutta, right, who did not stand to show honor when he saw Lord Balaram. Hare Krishna. So who did he compare him with? Sutta. So this devotee, Romaharshan Sutta, he's a very advanced soul. And he was sitting with all, everyone was facing him. Many sages were sitting there. And Lord Balaram entered. And who's Lord Balaram? He's the Lord himself. Now, no matter how great a sage you may be, if the Lord personally enters, what should you do? We should get down from our seat and offer our obeisances. But he didn't. And so Lord Balaram wanted to teach him a lesson. And so Lord Balaram, what did he do? Huh? Yeah, he literally destroyed him with a little straw. So Prabhupada writes, he says, Meenaketan Ramdas was a great devotee of Lord Nityananda. When he entered the house of Krishnadas Kaviraj, Gunarnav Mishra, the priest who was worshipping the deity installed in the house, did not receive him very well. And now he says, why Ramdas, Meenaketan Ramdas, he became upset. He says the behavior of Gunarnav Mishra indicated that he had no great respect for Lord Nityananda. And this idea was not at all palatable to Meenaketan Ramdas. So he was not upset that he was, for not, that he didn't offer me personal obeisances, that, I got, he got upset. He got upset because he could sense that this devotee does not have respect for Lord Nityananda as much as he has for Lord Chaitanya. For this reason, the mentality of Minaketan Ramdas is never deprecated by devotees. So he wasn't personally offended, but he felt bad that how could this devotee not have the same reverence and respect for Lord Nityananda. So let's recite 173. Shri Chaitanya Prabhute Tanra Sudhrita Vishvasa Nityananda Prati Tanra Vishvasa Bhasha. So, at the end of the festival, what happened was, Minaketan Ramdas, he got into an argument with the brother of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami regarding this issue. And his brother also had firm faith in Lord Chaitanya, but only a dim glimmer of faith in Lord Nityananda. So just like Gunarnav Mishra, his brother also had the same mentality. So they got into this argument, and what happened that ultimately Sri Ramdas Prabhu, he felt unhappy in his mind, right? And he left. And for this reason, what did Kaviraj Goswami do? He rebuked his brother. Tobe ta bhratere ami koruna korinu bhratsane. So in verse number 174, he said that I rebuked my brother. And how did I rebuke him? Let's read 175. Duhi bahi ek tanu samana prakasha Nityananda mane tomar hobe sarvanash. These two brothers, I told him, are like one body. Dui bhai ek tanu. And samana prakash, they're equally powerful manifestations. And if one accepts, if one doesn't accept Lord Nityananda, Nityananda namana tomar hobe sarvanash. That means you will destroy your spiritual life by not having the same level of respect for Lord Nityananda. And he says that if you have faith in one and disrespect the other, your logic is like the logic of accepting half a hen. So what does this mean? So this is called Ardha Kukuti Nyaya.
The half which gives egg, I think.
So the hen is, the part where it eats from, and then the other part where it lays its eggs. Now you say that, I like the part that lays the eggs because you get the eggs. But now you have to feed the hen. This is a problematic part. So let's just chop off the head. So he compares his brothers not having the same level of respect for Lord Nityananda as this logic of half a hen. So he's accepting Lord Chaitanya, but he's neglecting Lord Nityananda.
This we are talking about Minaketan's brother.
No, Krishna Das Kaviraj's brother. And in one sense also the same thing is applicable for Gunarnav Mishra. He says it would be better to be an atheist by slighting both brothers than a hypocrite by believing in one and slighting the other. So he says it's so offensive that you rather be an atheist than accepting one and rejecting the other or minimizing the other. And so Sri Ram Das, he broke his flute in anger and went away. And at that time what happened? Tata kale amar bhratarer hoilo sarvanash. So as he had said, that his spiritual life got completely destroyed. So this, what he has done to show that what is the power of the servants of Lord Nityananda. So let's read 179. Eita kohilu tanra sevaka prabhava Are eka kohi tanre dayara swabhava. So Kaviraj Goswami is saying is that I have just shared with you one anecdote where the power of the servant of Lord Nityananda is explained. Because Gunarnav Mishra and especially the brother of Kaviraj Goswami, they didn't accept Lord Nityananda. So what happened? Because of their offense towards Lord Nityananda and the devotee of Lord Nityananda, they lost their spiritual potency. The main thing in this is that just as Lord Nityananda is the Supreme Lord Himself and is so powerful, similarly those devotees who are completely dedicated to Him and in love with Him, if we offend those devotees, then we're finished spiritually. And if we are spiritually finished, basically purpose of life is finished. So we have to be very, very careful when we are dealing with devotees. Because we don't know who's dear to Lord Nityananda. So this is a great caution for all of us, that we really have to check our offensive mentality. Until we are fully purified, our tendency to be offensive will be there. But at least we should do the tapasya of checking it. And that comes by regular practice and especially prayer. To pray to the Lord to purify our offensive tendency. Because this will destroy us. It will destroy our bhakti, destroy our spiritual, whatever assets we have accumulated. And then what is life without bhakti or without spirituality? Prabhupada says he says that, people in Kali Yuga, because they have such atheistic tendencies and they don't believe in God, he says that they are a royal edition of animals. He says in the Bhagavatam purport, royal edition. Animals are doing what are they doing? Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And we are doing the same thing, but in more sophisticated way. But practically, if we analyze activities, all this progress, all this great innovations and conveniences, what are they doing? All they have done is just taken and made the level of eating, sleeping, and mating and defending more and more sophisticated, more and more complex, more and more luxurious. So Prabhupada's saying that this is a royal edition of animals. It's a fair statement. It's a very accurate statement. Now he's going to share another personal anecdote in which Lord Nityananda bestowed his mercy upon him. So now we have to just close your eyes and put everything aside. Okay. So everyone, please close your eyes and you just listen to me. Okay. So now imagine that you're sleeping. And in your sleep, the most amazing personality of Godhead, Lord Nityananda, appears to you in your dream. And you fall at his feet, you offer him your obeisances. And then how does he reciprocate? Lord Nityananda, he places his feet on your head. He says, arise, get up. He's telling you to get up. And when you get up, when you open your eyes, you keep your eyes still closed. So when you see him, you're greatly astounded by his beauty. So he has glossy black complexion, and he's tall, he's heroic, he's strong, and he looks like Cupid himself. He's so beautiful. He has beautifully formed hands, arms, legs, and his eyes are like lotus flowers. And what's he wearing? He's wearing a beautiful silk cloth with a silk turban on his head. And he has golden earrings on his ears and golden armlets and bangles. And you can hear the tinkling of his anklets on his feet. And there's a beautiful garland of flowers around his neck. And on his body, there is sandalwood pulp. And he's nicely decorated with tilak. And he has such beautiful movements. And his beauty is compared, his face is compared to like the beauty of millions and millions of moons. And his teeth, they're like reddened by, just like pomegranate seeds because of his chewing beetle. And he moves, his body is moving to and fro, and he's absorbed in ecstasy. And what's he chanting? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you keep your eyes closed. So his red stick is moving in his hands, and he seems like a maddened lion. All around the four sides of his feet were bumblebees. And not only bumblebees, they are cowherd boys. They're his devotees who are dressed like cowherd boys. And they surround his feet like many bees. And they also chant Krishna, Krishna. And they're all absorbed in ecstatic love. And some are playing the horns, some are playing the flutes, others are dancing, some are singing, and some are offering betel nuts, and others wave chamar fans about him. And as you see this great opulence in Lord Nityananda, his wonderful form, qualities, and pastimes, you are overwhelmed with transcendental ecstasy, not knowing anything else. Then Lord Nityananda smiled, and then he speaks to you. So now he says, "Oh, Sumit Prabhu, oh Sadguna Narayan Prabhu, oh Brijrani Mataji." He says, "Na koroho bhoy, do not be afraid. Vrindavan jaho tanha sarva labhya hoy." He says, go to Vrindavan, for there you will attain all things. So now that you have received this order, you can open your eyes. So Lord Nityananda has told you what? Go to Vrindavan. Why? So let us recite verse number 195. Are are Krishna dāsā na karo ho bhoy. Vrindavan jaho tana sarva labhya hoy. Oh my dear Krishna Das, do not be afraid. Go to Vrindavan, for there you will attain all things. So what are you going to do now? You got this order from Lord Nityananda. So what did Kaviraj Goswami do? So when Lord Nityananda gave him this order, he also did something else. He says he directed me towards Vrindavan by waving his hand, and then he disappeared with his associates. So he showed him the directions by waving his hand. And Kaviraj Goswami, he just fainted and fell to the ground. His dream broke, and when I regained consciousness, I saw that morning had come. So when he woke up from this dream, in ecstasy, right, he actually lost consciousness and he fell down. Right? And then suddenly he got up and realized, my God, this is already morning now. And then he said, I thought about what I had seen and heard and concluded that the Lord had ordered me to proceed to Vrindavan at once. That very second, I started from Vrindavan, and by His mercy, I reached there in great happiness. Just see his surrender. Huh? No, he was much younger. We don't know how old he was, but he was, when he wrote, he was 90 and above.
So he went back again?
No, he went and stayed in Vrindavan. Once he went there, he never came back. So he just got up and he left. Shei shane Vrindavane korinu gaman prabhura kripate sukhe ainu Vrindavan. Now what did he get in Vrindavan? And what is it that made him really happy? So this is what we are going to chant. We are going to chant these verses. They are ecstatic verses. So we will all chant together the next 4-5 verses. Okay? Starting from 201. Jaya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Kripamay. Janha hoite painu rupa sanatan ashray. So all glory to the merciful Lord Nityananda, by whose mercy I have attained the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatana. Jana hoite painu Raghunath Mahashaya. Jana hoite painu Sri Swarupa Ashraya. So by his mercy, what else did he get? He got the shelter of the great personality of Raghunath Das Goswami. And by his mercy, he also got the shelter of Sri Swarup Damodar. Text 203. Sanatana kripa painu bhakti rasidhanta. Shri Rupa kripa painu bhakti rasa pranta. So by the mercy of Sanatan Goswami, I have learnt the final conclusions of devotional service. And by the grace of Srila Rupa Goswami, I have tasted the highest nectar of devotional service. So this was the first gift he got. He got the shelter of the greatest of all great personalities of devotees. The Goswamis themselves, Srila Sanatan Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Raghunath Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. He personally spent most of his time under the shelter of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he had personally spent a lot of time with Lord Chaitanya's personal associate, Swarup Damodar Goswami. And Swarup Damodar Goswami had recorded all these confidential pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, especially his final pastimes. These were recorded by Swarup Damodar Goswami. And he had written these beautiful verses in Sanskrit, and he had made Raghunath Das Goswami memorize these shlokas. And so when he associated with Raghunath Das Goswami, what did Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami get? He got all this confidential information of the most ecstatic pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Means they were so emotionally surcharged. When we read the Ante Lila, then we will see that what a state Lord Chaitanya was in. And how beautifully that Swarup Damodar Goswami, he recorded all these very, very esoteric, most profound, the highest level of devotional sentiment. He saw Lord Chaitanya experiencing this Mahabhav, love and separation from Srimati Radharani. Or Srimati Radharani's separation from Sri Krishna. So he saw that. Das Goswami, yes.
And Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were also there?
Yes, they were also there at that time. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes that anyone desiring to become expert in the service of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna should always aspire to be under the guidance of Swarup Damodar Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. And now just hear this very attentively. To come under the protection of the Goswamis, one must get the mercy and grace of Nityananda Prabhu. The author has tried to explain this fact in these two verses. So this is actually the ultimate perfection. That if we get such shelter, which direction do you think our life will go in? Good, bad, ugly, perfect? Perfect. Unless we're really foolish and offensive. So this Echai Gosai Kori Charone Vandan. That's why Narottam Das Thakur sings. He says, Echai Gosai Kori Charone Vandan, Jaha hoite Vignanas Abhishta Puran. So whatever obstacles will be there, and there are so many obstacles. Is there anyone who doesn't have any obstacles on their path of devotional service? So many obstacles are there. But if we take the shelter, Echai Gosai Kori Charone Vandan, Jaha hoite Vignanas. That means whatever obstacles are there, they will be destroyed. Vigna Nash. Right? And we will gain complete mercy. Abhishta Puran. Everything will be complete by their mercy. And then in this purport, he shares all the wonderful contributions, especially by Sanatan Goswami, in terms of his literary contributions like the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Then he has also written a special commentary on the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is called the Dashama Tippani. Then he has written the Hari Bhakti Vilas, which states the rules and regulations for all divisions of Vaishnavas, namely Vaishnava householders, Vaishnava brahmacharis, Vaishnava vanaprasthas, and Vaishnava sannyasis. This book was specially written, however, for Vaishnava householders. And then he describes that how Raghunath Das Goswami, he has glorified Sanatan Goswami in his prayer, Vilap Kusum Manjali. And then Rupa Goswami, he is the Bhakti Rasacharya, or one who knows the essence of devotional service or devotional sentiments. His famous book, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, is a science of devotional service. And by reading this book, one can understand the meaning of devotional service. Another of his famous books is the Ujjwal Nilamani, in which he explains the loving affairs and transcendental activities of Lord Krishna and Radharani. And now before he goes on to share something more, so he attained the shelter of the Goswamis. And these next 3 verses especially, they really show the extent of Kaviraj Goswami's humility. See, I told you that before sharing this anecdote, that how he received the mercy, he was feeling a little shameful and apologetic. Now that he has shared that, Lord Nityananda appeared in his dream put his foot on him, right, and told him to go to Vrindavan. And he gave him this beautiful darshan. And then when he came to Vrindavan, he got the shelter of the 6 Goswamis. So now at the end, he is going to share his heart that don't think that just because I got this mercy, I am some significant person. Now just hear what he says. Let's recite these verses and try to feel the mood of Kaviraj Goswami. Jagai madhai hoite mui sei papishta, পুরুষেরা কীটা হইতে মুনিষে লাগিষ্টা. He says, I am more sinful than Jagai and Madhai, and even lower than the worms in the stool. Purishera kita hoite munishe lagishta. I am lower. How significant is the worm in the stool? Very important. No one ever even considers their existence. Unless there's some real issue with the digestive system. Happens maybe a few times in a lifetime. The doctor says, take some deworming tablets. Especially children, they eat a lot of mud and cement and then he says, Mora naam sune jai tar punnashaye, Mora naam loye je tar paap hoy. Anyone who hears my name loses the result of his pious activities. Anyone who utters my name becomes sinful. Amona nirgrina more keba kripa kore, Ek nityananda vinu jagata bhitore. So who in this world but Nityananda could allow his mercy to such an abominable person as me? (208) Prema matta Nityananda kripa avatara, Uttama dhamma kichu na kore vichar. Because he's intoxicated by ecstatic love and is an incarnation of mercy, he is Kripa avatar. So he doesn't distinguish Uttama, who's Uttam, who's Adham. Kichu na kore vichar. So he doesn't distinguish between the good and the bad. And he delivers all those who fall before him. Je aage podiya tare koraye nishtar, otova nishtara rila mo hena durachar. Therefore he has delivered such a sinful and fallen person as me. Although I am sinful and the most fallen, he has conferred upon me the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. And not only did he do that, so he goes on to say that by the mercy of Kaviraj Goswami, he also got the darshan of Lord Madan Gopal and Lord Govindji. So he got their personal darshan. He says that Lord Madan Gopal, he's the chief deity of Vrindavan. He's the enjoyer of rasa dance. And he's directly the son of the king of Raj. And who does he enjoy this ras dance with? So he enjoys with Srimati Radharani, Sri Lalita and others. And he is himself as a cupid of all cupids. And he's wearing yellow garments, he's decorated with a flower garland. Lord Krishna, he appears amongst the gopis with a smiling lotus face and looks directly like the charmer of the heart of Cupid. And with Radha and Lalita serving him on two sides, he attracts the heart of all by his own sweetness. Let's chant 216. Nityananda doya more tanre dekhailo, Shri Radha Madan Mohane Prabhu kore dilo. The mercy of Lord Nityananda showed me Shri Madan Mohan and gave me Shri Madan Mohan as a Lord, as my Lord and Master. And after 2 or 3 chapters, we will hear that how Lord Madan Mohan personally bestowed his mercy on him and encouraged him to write the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then he also granted to me, even though I am so low, the sight of Lord Govinda. Words cannot describe this, nor is it fit to be disclosed. And then he describes that how, on an altar made of gems, in one of the main temples of Vrindavan, amidst a forest of desire trees, Lord Govinda, the son of the king of Raj, he sits on a throne of gems and manifests his full glory and sweetness, thus enchanting the entire world. So what did he just do? Do you know this verse? Right in the beginning, we chanted this verse that glorifies first chapter, verse number, This is a verse that we often, especially when we are doing the Mangala Charan, yes, so this is actually verse number 16. Can someone recite this verse? Yes, 16. So this is exactly what he has done over here, in his own words. The same verse. So that was a Sanskrit verse, and now in these 2 Bengali verses, 218 and 219, he has described that same setting. So on the left side is Srimati Radharani and her personal friends. With them Lord Govinda enjoys the Ras Lila and many other pastimes. And who is worshipping this Radha and Govinda? Great personalities like Lord Brahma. They're sitting on his lotus feet in his abode and he's meditating on them. So it's not just the creator in each universe. Prabhupada calls him the prime engineer, the chief engineer. Lord Brahma, what's he doing? He's meditating. And we see in his beautiful verses, his prayers, the Brahma Samhita, how he glorifies Krishna. I mean, just these are like just out of the world verses. And then in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, I think it's chapter number 8, where he glorifies Krishna. After Krishna, after Krishna brings him to his senses. And those verses in which he describes the glories of Krishna, they're so beautiful. Like, they're the best of the best verses to appreciate the glories of Krishna. So he says, everyone in the 14 worlds meditates upon him, and all the denizens of Vaikuntha sing of his qualities and pastimes. Not only they, even the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi herself, she is attracted by his sweetness. And Srila Rupa Goswami has described in this wonderful verse that he shares in 224. He says that this is a warning verse. So if you really want to enjoy in this world, if you really value your material enjoyment, all your material possessions, all your material relationships, and all the material rasas that you get, then don't go to the shore where this beautiful boy with this amazing smiling face, he's standing on the bank of Yamuna at Keshi Ghat, and he's casting these sidelong glances, and he places his flute to his lips, and his body is bending in 3 places, and he's appearing bright in the moonlight. He says, if you see this boy, all your material aspirations will be destroyed. I mean, these are verses, these are transcendental verses. These are the supreme realizations of the best devotees. Rasacharya, Srila Rupa Goswami. He's expressing his heart here. If you really want to make it in this world, or at least make a show of making it, big name, big possessions, big fame. He says, don't go and see that enchanting boy on the bank of the Yamuna. Thank you. Because all your material aspirations will come crashing down. He says, without a doubt, he is directly the son of the king of Raj. Only a fool considers him a statue. So when we see these beautiful vigrahas of the Lord that were worshipped by the Goswamis, that manifested themselves to the Goswamis, like Radha Govindji, Radha Gopinathji, Radha Madan Mohan. These are not statues. He's saying that if you consider them a statue for that offense, you'll never be liberated. Rather, you will fall into a terrible hellish condition. He says, what more can I say? You can feel his heart, what he's trying to express here, what he's gotten and what he's sharing with us. And he's reminding us that don't think they're statues. And there's a very strong purport by Srila Prabhupada where he says that What we call stone, wood, and metal are energies of the Supreme Lord, and energies are never separate from the energetic. As we have several times explained, no one can separate the sunshine energy from the energetic sun. Therefore, material energy may appear separate from the Lord, but transcendentally, it is non-different from the Lord. And he says that because this energy comes from the Lord, so the Lord can choose to manifest himself in these diverse forms. And Prabhupada says so nicely, he says, even if one has not developed this consciousness, one should accept it theoretically from the instructions of the spiritual master and should worship the Archa Murti or the form of the Lord in the temple as non-different from the Lord. So he's cautioning us that don't think, these bona fide forms of the Lord, these are just, some metal or some stone. The Lord has manifested his full potency in that. And even if we cannot, in our conditioned state, we can't appreciate these forms, but at least let us theoretically accept it and worship them. Just like in the footsteps of these great acharyas, they worship with so much rati, with so much affection, they serve their deities. And there's so many beautiful pastimes as we will read more. We will hear such beautiful exchanges between the deities and the devotees. How Govindji manifested to Rupa Goswami. And many of these deities, they were carved by the grandson of Krishna. Thousands and thousands of years ago. Therefore, who can describe the mercy of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, by whom I have attained the shelter of this Lord Govinda? All the groups of Vaishnavas who live in Vrindavan are absorbed in chanting the all-auspicious name of Krishna. Let us read verse 228 and 229. This is the heart of Vaishnavism. Vrindavane boshe joto Vaishnava mandala, Krishna nama parayana parama mangala. Janra pranadhana nityananda Shri Chaitanya. Radha Krishna bhakti vina nahi jane anya. So what are the characteristics of those who are the life and soul, right? Whose life and soul are Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda? So how will we know that their life and soul is Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda? What's the symptom here? Verse number 229.
Who do not know anything but devotional service.
Yes, they don't know anything except for devotional service to Sri Radha Krishna. This is the symptom of someone who has surrendered to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. So to become the servants of Gaur Nitai means what? Ultimately, to become the servants of Radha and Krishna. And now he expresses, in these last few verses, he expresses his gratitude. Let's read all these and then we will conclude this. Shai Vaishnavira pada renu tara pada chaya Adhamera dila Prabhu Nityananda Daya. The dust and shade of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas have granted to this fallen soul the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Tanha sarva labhya hoy Prabhura vachana Shai sutra ei tara koilo vivaran. So Lord Nityananda said, in Vrindavan all things are possible. Here I have explained his brief statement in detail. Shai Shobha Painu Ami Vrindavana Aya Shai Shobha Labhya Prabhura Kripaya. So I have attained all this by coming to Vrindavan, and this was made possible by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Apnara kotha likhi nirlaja hoiya Nityananda gune likhai unmata koriya. He says, I have described my own story without being ashamed, without any reservations. So without, he says, Katha likhi nirlajja hoya. So I was shameless. But why did I do that? Because the attributes of Lord Nityananda making me like a madman. Nityananda gune likhaya. His qualities, his attributes, his mercy, it made me mad and made me do this. Hare Krishna. And now he ends. Nityananda Prabhur Guna Mahima Para Saharsha Vandana Sesha Nahi Payanra. The glories of Lord Nityananda's transcendental attributes are unfathomable. Guna Mahima Apar. They are inconceivable. Even Lord Sesha, with thousands of mouths, cannot find their limit. And then he ends in his classical style, right, in his humble style. Every chapter ends with this verse, seeking the mercy. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Jara Asha Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dāsā. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, 5th chapter, describing the glories of Lord Nityananda Balaram. So what did you like in this story? Yes, very nice. His humility, what his own realization, what was his realization? Okay, can we have one person speak at a time, because otherwise the mercy is getting diluted. Where's Today we'll ask some others to speak.
One point, if anyone.
You get to speak at the last.